check it out.
What's up everybody, Rex fan here for weekly update number 30 on this Friday. So, first thing of course, I am feeling better. I'm not 100% back to normal, but I am feeling a lot better. And I want to thank you guys for all your awesome support, especially last week. All the comments and people were sending me messages and everything. I just really appreciate it. You guys are seriously awesome. Like, I'm so lucky and so fortunate to have you guys as my supporters. It's amazing, and so thank you so much for that. Big news this week is we reached 30,000 subscribers. Very appropriate for the 30th update here. So yeah, past 30,000 subscribers this week, and so it's great that, you know, that's again because of you guys. It's because of you sharing videos and you telling your friends about the channel and spreading the word. That's how we're getting more subscribers here on this channel. And I mean, last week showed just how great of a community we've built. So if we can help build this awesome community and just make it even larger, it's just gonna get even better. And so I love your feedback as always, and looking forward to getting even more feedback from even more of you. So again, I'm just overwhelmed with how amazing you guys have been to this channel, and I just am so grateful for everything. So anyway, what's new with the BRZ this week? Well, not a whole lot. Same thing. I've noticed it's starting to get a little bit cooler out now, and I've noticed a few more rattles starting up. There's a rattle right around the e-brake area here where it's starting to rattle from time to time. That rear window still is rattling. I still just have to go and play around with stuff back there and try and fix it. Another thing I'll probably be doing in the next couple of weeks here is I have a lot of paint chips on my hood that I highlighted earlier this summer. You can go back and watch that weekly update if you missed that one. So I definitely want to go through and, you know, touch up all those little chips before winter comes and it starts getting colder. I don't want to get any salt or anything like that in there. I want to, you know, make sure I protect the metal and stuff. So gonna be doing that. I'll do a little vlog video whenever I go through and fix all those chips. So anyway, I'll send it back to me at the news desk for this week's news. There's lots of stuff to talk about. Right, so for this week's news, the first thing is BMW has announced that the M3 and M4 that are about to come out are going to have 430 horsepower and well over 369 foot-pounds of torque. But the biggest news here is that it comes standard with a 6-speed manual transmission. And this isn't just a direct swap from an older M3. This is apparently an approved gearbox. It has carbon fiber upgrades and the synchronizers, and it's, I guess, been worked on actually. So they're actually developing, you know, this better manual transmission. So I'm really, really excited to see that they're putting any work or any interest into a manual transmission. So that's awesome. This car is going to come with a stick. Really exciting news about that. One thing that's interesting though is 369 foot-pounds of torque. Now I love the E92 M3. I reviewed that car. That's one of my most famous reviews so far, and that I loved how it could have wonderful balance, but it could also misbehave and just be a drift monster if you want it to be. And this has quite a bit more torque. The E92 M3s, they had a 414 horsepower, I believe, which is, you know, just a few down on this car. So this car doesn't have a large horsepower increase, but the torque on the previous V8 only had, I think, less than 300 foot-pounds of torque. So for this to have well over 369 foot-pounds of torque, I'm worried that's going to be too much torque and that this is just going to handle like a Mercedes C63 and just go sideways all the time. Hoping that's not the case, but apparently it is a hard car to manage because BMW's engineers, while they were lapping this thing on the Nürburgring this past week, wrecked the M3 into a wall. And so, not sure what happened there. I'm not like making any judgments, but if the engineers that are driving the prototypes run off the track, could have just been an honest mistake, but something makes me think that that might have a little bit too much torque. Just my personal opinion, but that'll be interesting to see, you know, how that car drives once it finally comes out. Another car that's been going around the Nürburgring recently is the new Lamborghini Cabrera, which is, you know, the Gallardo replacement that has been waited for many, many years, and it looks like it's pretty close. I think it's going to be coming out in Geneva here next spring, and so it's been lapping the Nürburgring. It looks amazing. I mean, some people are saying it doesn't look that much different from a Gallardo, but you got to remember they're putting tons of camouflage on this car. You know Lamborghini isn't going to make a boring car. This thing is going to look outrageous. So don't be too upset by the camo and stuff. It's going to be an amazing and beautiful looking car. They're actually sticking with a V10 with this, and from the video lapping the Nürburgring, I'll put a link to the video in the description so you can hear what it sounds like and stuff. It sounds like it actually has the dual clutch out of the R8 V10 Plus, so should have a much better transmission, and they're saying 600 horsepower. The thing that I found a little disappointing from the video is it sounds almost exactly like the Gallardo. I mean, it's still a 5.2 liter V10, so you can't expect it to sound that much different, but I was just hoping this car would sound a little bit more vicious, and it just kind of sounds like a normal Gallardo to me. Hoping that they improve the sound here before the debut, but still very excited for that car either way. So on to other news. Alfa Romeo has announced that they're delaying the 4C in the US until mid-2014. As you've seen, Chris Harris drove the 4C this week. A bunch of other automotive journalists have driven this car, and everyone is praising it. I really want to drive one. I love them. The looks have really warmed me over. I love this car, and I'm hoping that I'll get to drive one at some point eventually in a few years or something, but this car is fantastic. Another thing, though, bad news for us US people, is that they're also saying this car is going to have 220 more pounds of mass because it has to, meet our crash test regulations and all the other crazy regulations we have over here. So this car isn't going to be quite as good in America. It's going to be a little bit slower, a little bit heavier, which is kind of a disappointment, but I'm just happy to be getting this car at all. It's going to be great to have this over here. And yeah, looking forward to seeing those on the roads, hopefully sometime sooner rather than later in 2014. And another interesting thing is the new Corvette Z06 or Z07, whatever they're calling it, was spied for the first time. And last week, I think some people said that they might have spied one, but it probably is just the Grand Sport version because it didn't actually have bigger brakes or anything like that. This car seems to have all the right hardware, lots of camo. It's going to, be pretty impressive. I think they're saying it's going to have a supercharged V8 that's going to put out 600 to 650 horsepower. So this Z06 or Z07 is probably going to be on the same performance level as the ZR1 Corvette of the C6 generation. That's going to be an interesting car to see, just how impressive that is for lap times and stuff, because the standard Corvette's already really impressive. An interesting thing that came out in the news this week is about this Equus Base 770, and it's a weird car. Apparently it's been out for a while now and no one really noticed it or paid attention. It's basically, it kind of looks like a 67 Mustang Fastback, but they have kind of like a Barracuda front end on it, and the back end's weird, and it has a modern interior. And I'm just trying to wrap my head around why they made this car. I mean, it has airbags and all kind of stuff, so it's kind of like classic muscle car styling, but with some safety features. But they want $250,000 for this car. And, I mean, it just looks like a car from Grand Theft Auto or something. It's just like a Frankenstein of a bunch of muscle cars. Doesn't look as good as any of the real muscle cars actually look, and yeah, just can't see anyone wanting to pay $250,000 for one of these. That's probably why we haven't heard about this, even though they said they've been out for over a year now. I mean, it's going to have impressive performance, all kinds of modern technology, but yeah, it's kind of silly. And speaking of, just to illustrate how silly it is, another car you can buy for $250,000, the brand new Bentley Continental GT. Bentley is considering a four-door coupe, since everyone's been doing that. You have anything from the CLA to the CLS, and I mean everyone seems to be doing this four-door coupe thing recently, and Bentley wants to get it in the game, but they want it to be their lowest price car. They're saying something in the $150,000 to $200,000 range. And I think Bentley has to be careful to not cheapen themselves too much. I got a chance to drive a Continental GT a few years ago, and it was by far the most refined car I've ever driven. I mean, double pane glass, I mean, super silent inside, super comfortable, so refined. They're amazing cars, and I don't think they should cheapen themselves out. I mean, they already went a little cheaper with making the Continental GT and throwing the V8 in it instead of the W12, and that brought the cost down. So you can still buy a brand new Bentley Continental GT for under $200,000. So the fact that they're chasing like the BMW M6 Grand Coupe and the CLS 63 AMG is just, to me, a bad idea. I know everyone wants to sell more cars, but don't give up your brand image in the meantime. It's just bad idea, I think, for Bentley. They're saying it wouldn't come out to 2018. I'm hoping between now and 5 years from now they kind of come to their senses and realize that's a bad idea. But again, just my personal opinion. Other news: Porsche revealed the 911 Turbo convertible. The new 911 Turbo just came out a few weeks ago. Now they have the convertible version out already, and they want $160,000 for it base. And the 911s. I mean, the 911 Turbo will outperform many supercars that cost double the price. But still, just I don't know. That's a lot of money for a 911. I don't know, and it's just going to continue to go up. You get the Turbo S convertible and things like that. It's just, we're talking about $200,000 911s. That's just a little uncomfortable for me. Another Lamborghini thing is that the CEO announced that they're going to make the Urus, which is their SUV that they've debuted at a few different shows now, I think. And the Urus is an interesting car. I think it's awesome. I mean, sure, just anything from Lamborghini, you want to make more cars, go for it, because they're all going to be awesome. But that should be pretty interesting. Hopefully they keep with the V10 engine they were going to have in it, and the amazing looks and stuff. And finally, Volvo has announced that they may do a limited production run of the concept coupe that I was drooling over a few weeks ago. And I'm not sure how limited their limited production is going to be if they decide to make this, but I don't know why they don't just make it a full-on production car. I mean, people loved the way it looked. It has amazing performance. Just go for it. I mean, Volvo hasn't done anything risky in a while. I mean, I know they don't have a ton of money. They're a pretty small company, but they should really just make this car. I think it's going to be amazing if they do. So yeah, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So I'll send it back to me in the car. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed the news portion, and I'll leave you with a nice little acceleration here like I always do. And here we go. Always fun. Still love this car. So yeah, thanks for watching again, guys, and I'll see you next week. Take care.